And that's the dream that made me think, wow, what is really happening when we do this?
Welcome to the podcast episode of your dreams. Welcome back to the Wild Business Growth Podcast. This is your place to hear from a new entrepreneur or innovator every single Wednesday morning who's turning wild ideas into wild growth. I'm your host, Max Branstetter, founder and podcast producer at Max Podcasting, and you can reach me at max@maxpodcasting.com for help bringing your podcast to life and using it as a business building tool. This is episode 121, and today's guest is an incredible entrepreneur who has a fantastic business story herself. But we didn't really get into that. And the reason is because what she does is simply so fascinating. Today's guest is Lauri Loewenberg, and she is a Certified Dream Analyst. She has analyzed over 75,000 dreams and has been featured as a recurring guest on The Today Show and Dr. Oz, and has been featured on pretty much every major TV station, TV show, radio show. The list goes on and on and on. She is an incredible joy to listen to and learn from. And in this episode, we talked about everything from what are dreams to lucid dreams to nightmares to what dreams mean, and even get into some listener and personal dream interpretations, including a moment that truly left me speechless. Let's go nighty-night. Enjoy the show. Alrighty, we are here with the fantastic, magical, award-winning dream expert, dream analyst, Lauri Loewenberg. Lauri, thanks for joining. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for coming. This is an interview that I've been so looking forward to. I have a crazy amount of questions, so hopefully, we're not going to get to all of them, but hopefully we can get to a few today. I find what you do so fascinating, and I obviously have dreamt before, and I've always thought of it as a really curious and interesting thing. And I think what you do and how you've built your career is so cool. So we're going to get to plenty of that today. I'm wondering, first off, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think that you'd be doing what you do professionally?
No, I didn't even know there was such a thing when I was growing up as someone who analyzed dreams professionally. I wanted to be a movie star like all little girls do. And I actually did go out to Hollywood and I was taking acting classes at Stella Adler School of Acting, which actually I think helped me in my career as a dream analyst on the PR media side of it. Because with that training, it made me media savvy and how to perform in front of an audience, which is important when you want to engage them and get them interested in what you do. It's funny how sometimes things just fall into place for you.
It is, and sometimes they're literally going through your mind at night, I guess. When you were younger, is there a specific dream you had or a series of recurring dreams that really left an impact on you?
Well, I have been a vivid dreamer since my very first memories. I can remember dreams from when I was 2 and 3 years old. I drive my parents crazy trying to explain to them when I was dreaming when I really didn't even have enough words to describe it. And so I've been keeping a dream journal for my whole life. And I had no idea what a wonderful thing I was doing for myself by documenting the other side of my mind. But the dream that actually propelled me into this career, the dream that drove me to study dream psychology, was a dream I had when I was 19. And it was 2 weeks after the death of my grandfather. I was very close to my grandfather, and he was the first person in my life that ever died. So it was the first time I ever experienced death. And I went into a very deep depression after that. And 2 weeks after his death, I had this dream where he and I were walking arm in arm through this museum, and I knew he was dead. And I asked him, "What is it like where you are?" And he said, "I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is that it's very secure." And then he gave me a hug and he began to walk up this staircase. And as he's walking up is when I woke up. And could feel him. It's like he was still sitting there next to me and I could smell his old spice. And it was a dream like I've never experienced. It was way more real, way more impactful than all the other dreams I've ever had. And that's the dream that made me think, wow, what is really happening when we do this? Where do we go? What is the purpose? Is there meaning? I mean, what is this? So that inspired me to study dream psychology. And then I was so impressed with how the subconscious dreaming mind works and how practical it is and what a powerful force it is in our life when we listen to our dreams and apply their messages to our life. And so that made me want to get out there. This was back in the early 90s. No one was doing this that I was aware of. That made me want to get out there and spread the word any way I could. And if there is a way to make this my career, I was going to find a way.
I think now it's safe to say you've certainly found a way.
I did, yes.
What was it that was so compelling about the subconscious mind and the world of dreams that you were so convinced that this is something I need to do? And I don't care if I don't even know anybody else doing it. I can do this.
Because it's such a shared experience. All humans experience this, and all humans wonder about it. No one that I knew of back then was doing it. And more importantly, the way dreams work, the way they speak to us, the messages they give us, it's like a second brain that we have that we don't pay attention to, but it's the smarter brain. It's the brain it's like a second brain that's just hidden behind your real brain, and it's always working and it's always aware and it's always observing and taking notes and gathering data and also helping to consolidate your memories and boring stuff like that as well. But it's always there. And then when you go to sleep and your main brain goes to sleep, the subconscious brain, your second brain, rises to the surface and takes over. And it's almost like it tries to correct what you did wrong that day, or it at least tries to point out what you did wrong. And it will also point you where to go when you're doing the right thing. And it will give you ideas. It will reprimand you. It will warn you. It will congratulate you. All of these things in the form of images and in a storyline. So when you're able to connect what your dreams are telling you at night, when you're able to connect that to what's going on in your life right now, it's a very powerful thing. You can get a huge edge in every single area of your life.
The fact that it's like a second brain and it's the smarter brain explains a lot, at least on my end.
Okay, good.
I'd love to dive more into this dreamlike state, this world of dreaming, and start off at more of a high level. What exactly is a dream?
A dream is a thought process. Your dreams are thoughts. It is a thinking process. Your dreams are a continuation of your thoughts from the day. So as, you go about your day, every day, all day long, there's a dialogue going on in your head between you and yourself. And as you're washing your dishes, as you're driving to work, as you're, making the bed, all that you do all day long, you're always talking to yourself. And then as we drift off to sleep, that inner dialogue is still happening. But then as we go deeper into sleep, and when we reach REM dream sleep, that stream of consciousness is still there and it's still working. But now, instead of thinking in words and in linear thought, we're thinking in images and emotions and metaphors. And the reason why is because at that point, once we enter REM dream sleep, the brain is now working differently. For example, the part of the prefrontal cortex that controls rational linear thought is dormant. the very center of the brain, the amygdala, which Freud called the seat of the subconscious. The amygdala, which controls our emotions, is highly active. That's just one of many, many ways the brain is working differently, but that's why, dreams seem to not make sense. People ask me all the time, well, if mean something, why don't they just say what they mean? Well, they are telling us what they mean, it's just a different language. So when you can understand that language, the messages you're going to get are amazing.
And it's such a mysterious thing that, on one day, your dreams can be completely different than they are on another day. What impacts the types of dreams that you have? Like, is it actions or things that you see, or is it, food or alcohol that you take in? Like, what are the biggest factors that impact the dreams you have?
What is on your mind the most is what you will tend to dream about. What affects you the most during the day is what you will tend to dream about, because your dreams are basically a commentary on how your day went and how you behaved and reacted to your day. So if you have a very, very frustrating day and things just didn't go well, or you weren't able to accomplish something, or you had a very frustrating conversation with someone, your dream is going to comment on that at night. And your dreams that night will probably be frustrating because your dreams are connected to that frustrating thing you went through that day. If you have a great day, and you got a raise or landed a big deal, or you started a new relationship you're excited about, when you have a great day, your dreams are going to be great. You might dream of flying, for example. So whatever affects you the most, psychologically and physically as well, is what will dictate how your dreams play out.
So it's really important what you're actually seeing as well as what you're actually thinking throughout the day, it seems like. And then that translates into night.
Yeah, just keep in mind your dreams are a continuation of your thoughts from the day.
Why is it that sometimes dreams are so hard to remember? And other days it's, oh my God, I had this crazy dream last night. I need to tell you about it.
Not to get too boring and scientific,
No,
it
we
is
can get boring and scientific. That's okay.
it's the biochemical process that happens as we go through the waking up process that makes dreams hard to remember. They kind of get put into the short-term memory part of the brain. But it's also important to remember that you do dream every single night. Whether you remember it or not, you dreamed. Every 90 minutes throughout the night, we enter REM dream sleep. So on a good night, you can have 5 or more dreams. Throughout your lifetime, you'll have over 100,000 dreams. So the key is to remember them, capture them when you wake up in the morning. I'm going to give you a little trick on how to easily do that. Are you ready?
Hold on. Let me buckle my seat. Okay, I'm ready.
Yes. Okay. Also take notes. No, actually, this is super easy. In order to remember your dreams, is seriously the easiest thing you'll ever do. When you wake up, whether it's in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or you're waking up for good to start your day, you have to remain in the exact same position you woke up in for a few minutes, because that is the exact same position your body was in when you were dreaming. If you move, it's just like unplugging yourself from your dream you were just in seconds ago. So you want to just lay there. That's it. Don't move. Lay there. Don't think about anything. Also, quiet your mind and give yourself 3 to 5 minutes. That's the magic time right there. The 3 to 5 minutes when you first wake up is when you're most likely able to remember your dream. So, whatever you remember, even if it's just, I just remember something about a dog. Okay, great, write it down. So, do this every morning, make it part of your morning routine. And the more you do it, it's like a muscle. The stronger it'll get. You'll start remembering your dreams more and more every morning. And before you know it, you'll be like me and remember every single dream you have throughout the night.
Oh my god. Yeah, well, let me make sure that seatbelt's still on. It's cool how simple it is to do that. How long would you say, how many days or weeks, I guess, does it take for you to do that kind of every morning before you really, really have a vivid sense of your dreams?
Well, it depends on the individual. We're all different. and how much effort you put into it. But the key in the very beginning is that you write your dream down as soon as you remember to record it into your phone, because you could remember it and then get up, go down, have your coffee and breakfast, and then it'll be gone because you didn't write it down. because dreams are so slippery, which is frustrating to me because they're such a powerful part of who we are, but they're hard to hold on to. So for some people, especially the more artistic type people, painters, writers, artists, they tend to have a more natural knack of remembering their dreams. So this little exercise will work really fast for them, but someone more left brain, like an investment banker, may take a little longer. But then again, it really is up to the individual and how much effort and intent that you put into it.
And then what can you do once you have that vivid ability? Like, does that tie into lucid dreaming? Because you hear about lucid dreaming and people having some sort of control over their dreams. How does that come into play?
Okay, so that can happen. Now, I some people become lucid in a dream. Lucid dreaming, for people who don't know what it is when you are in a dream and suddenly have the realization, "Oh, this is a dream." And then you can take control of the dream. Some people, this just happens to them naturally. Like, I get a lucid dream naturally about once a month. Some people have to work really hard at it. Some people never ever experience it. Some people only experience it in the midst of a nightmare, where whatever's going on in the nightmare so frightening, it triggers lucidity, and then they use that lucidity to wake up and get out of the dream, rather than confronting that axe murderer or whatever's going on, and
Get me out of
asking
here.
and saying, "Hey, what do you represent? What are you trying to tell me?" If you are ever in a lucid dream, I tell my clients, ask a question because you will get an answer. Lucid dreaming tends to happen in the morning, within that last cycle of REM, before we wake up for good. That's when it happens the most. And a little trick you can do to get yourself to lucid dream is this. Try this and let me know if this works for you, okay? Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier than you normally get up, but also have your snooze ready to snooze for 30 minutes. So when that alarm goes off, hit your snooze, go back to sleep. You've got this nice 30-minute window, which is like great. It's enough time to fall back asleep, but not long enough that you're going to fall into the deep delta sleep. That delta sleep will help, you'll forget your dreams if you go into that. So you've got this nice window of time where you will go into sleep enough where you will hit REM again, but you'll also hold on to enough consciousness where you're more likely to recognize that you're dreaming when that dream starts. So if you want to try that little trick a few mornings in a row, you're going to raise your odds of being able to lucid dream.
That's amazing. It makes sense that it would be kind of in that morning state where you do have a mix of consciousness as well as being asleep there. I had kind of a crazy experience, and I don't know if this is legit or if this is just placebo effect, but I was reading a Tim Ferriss article about lucid dreaming, like a long blog post, and it had some tips on lucid dreaming. And I'm not kidding, like the weeks after I read that, maybe a night or two after, I experienced lucid dreaming for really the first time. And I was like, could this actually be happening? That, like, from reading this article and just applying a few simple tips that actually work. I wasn't sure if that was legit or if that's just some weird placebo effect thing going on.
Well, if you were actually in the dream and realized it was a dream, then it was working for you.
Nice. All right. Check that
Do you want to
box.
tell me about that dream? What did you do when you realized you were lucid?
Well, it's hard to remember. This was a while ago now, but I feel like I'm always moving. Like I'm either flying or walking around somewhere, and there's kind of like a mix of people. But I don't know. It's a strange feeling of like knowing that you have some sort of control, but also somewhat knowing that you're dreaming. I don't have a specific example. We'll get to some specific examples later. Lucid dreaming is just a very curious thing. In addition to that, what are some other benefits that can come out of keeping a dream journal or making a better effort to remember and acknowledge your dreams?
So if you start keeping a dream journal, pat yourself on the back because it is one of the best things you'll ever do for yourself. But I also strongly, strongly recommend that you keep a dream journal in tandem with a day journal, because you're going to get so much more benefit out of it. if you keep them together. And I highly recommend you get a spiral bound notebook. And on your left side of your notebook, before you go to sleep, you're going to write down your day. And, write down the conversations you had, whatever you struggled with, whatever you accomplished, what was on your mind the most, what you saw on TV. Write all that down on the left. Then you go to sleep. When you wake up, you're going to stay put for 3 to 5 minutes and capture those dreams. Then you're going to write them down on the right side. So then you have your day on the left, your dreams on the right. Remember, your dreams are a continuation of your thoughts from the day. You're going to have them side by side so you can more easily connect the dots. So if you look at your dream and you see that you dreamed you were attacked by a bear, and then you look at your day, and then you'll see, oh, I had a conversation with my mom and she was nagging me again about my fiance that she doesn't like.
I thought you were going to say had a conversation with a bear. I'm like, oh, that explains that one.
That would be weird. But then you'll begin to see, how certain relationships are affecting you. Like that your mom has always got you feeling like a victim. So having that clear understanding, you can actively work to change the dynamics in your relationship with your mom. Our dreams will show us, our dreams will be brutally honest with us about things we aren't doing correctly, things we aren't handling correctly. Dreams do not like complacency. Our dreams don't like it when we don't take the best care of ourselves, and they will step up and they will nag us and they will reprimand us until we get the point and we correct what they're trying to shine a light on.
Is that recurring dreams? Like, is that where that comes into play? Like, if something hasn't been
Yes.
fixed, I guess?
Yes. Yes. There's two main reasons I have found that we get recurring dreams. One is that it will be connected to an ongoing issue. And so for as long as this issue continues, so will the dream until the issue gets resolved. The other main cause of a recurring dream is that it will be connected to a recurring behavior pattern. So whenever we exhibit this particular behavior, we will get the dream connected to it. An example of that is the teeth falling out dream. Have you had this
Oh,
one?
yes. I have. Yes. And I've had a balding one, like a gray facial hair one. I've had all sorts of like random appearance thing ones like that.
Okay. So the teeth falling out dream is most often, now, of course, what I'm talking about here, whenever I'm going to talk about any symbols throughout this interview, these are called archetypes, which means they will have a pretty similar meaning of what is typical for most. Of course, your personal experiences and associations always matter, but typically, this is what it will mean. So, the teeth falling out dream usually is connected to the recurring behavior pattern of loose speech, where we say things without thinking about it first. We say something we wish we could put back in our mouth and keep there permanently. People who don't have a filter will get this dream.
That explains it.
So it's your subconscious is basic, and also in these dreams we have a lot of concern about, oh, how I'm going to look so stupid now without my teeth. And
Right.
so that concern about physical appearance that we have is connected to the waking life concern of, I must look like an ass after I said that to so and so.
How does the mind, though, like portray that as really in terms of an analogy? It kind of like converts it into a metaphor there.
That is exactly what your dreams are. They are a metaphor for what's going on in your life right now. Now, think about just today. How many times do you think you've used a metaphor in your conversations? I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse. Oh, we'll cross that bridge when we
Just
get
said
to it.
that.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
No, but I need to start rolling that one out. That is a good one. But it
So,
is, yeah, that does come up.
we naturally speak in metaphors. We do this in order to get our point. I could tell you I'm hungry, or I could tell you I'm so hungry I can eat a horse. And you better take me to go eat right now. So our dreams work in the exact same way, except they bring the metaphor to life. You're like literally living the metaphor. So if you can, using the example of being attacked by a bear. So in what part of your life do you feel like you're under attack? And then you'll be able to pinpoint it.
It really is like a smarter brain because
Mhm.
you hear about explaining things to people in easily digestible form, people talk about how it's so helpful to use metaphor and analogy to explain whatever it is you're talking about. And it's really, really crazy that your, quote unquote second brain, subconscious mind is doing this for you while you're dreaming. Like if we could only tap into that more, which I guess is what you're getting to by the dream journals,
Yeah.
there's a lot of firepower there.
It's the way we are brutally honest with ourselves. When the waking mind refuses to acknowledge something, the subconscious mind forces us to, for our own good, so that we can correct what is wrong, so we can improve upon what is going right, so we can get away from what is dangerous to us. Our dreams don't lie to us like we lie to ourselves when we are awake. Our dreams do not do that. Our dreams do not like complacency. Our dreams, are there to help us get it right.
Our dreams are like a diligent boss, I guess. Kind of.
Or a nagging mother.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or, talking to a bear. But there's a few other areas that I am curious about before we get into some interpretations. One is nightmares. So, whatever it is, nightmares have a completely different effect than, I guess, your everyday dream, where you can wake up and be like, oh my God, like, thank God that was just a dream. What's actually going on in your mind, in your body when a nightmare is happening?
So, nightmares are most often connected to our most difficult issues, which is why they're so difficult to experience. And I have found in a lot of cases, dreams will build in intensity until they reach nightmare level over a period of time, like over a period of a few weeks or whatever, depending on the issue they're trying to help us with. So, when we have an issue we are mishandling or ignoring, or that's just too difficult for us, so we just push it aside, the subconscious will start nagging us about it gently at first, and then the dreams will start to get a little more progressively upsetting until they reach nightmare status. So, the difference between a bad dream and a nightmare is that the nightmare is so intense that it propels you to suddenly wake up, heart pounding, sweating, breathing hard, and you don't forget the nightmare. Unlike a dream, those you can easily forget, but you don't forget your nightmares because they're so intense.
Yeah.
The subconscious has to get to that level. It's the way your second brain slaps you and says, wake up, correct this, enough already. So when you get a nightmare, first thing you want to do is ask yourself, what is the most difficult thing in my life right now? And that is what your nightmare is trying to help you with. Sometimes it can be a very difficult issue that happened a long time ago, years ago. But whatever that difficult issue was, it is still affecting you today in the way you relate to other people, yourself, or whatever. And so something will trigger that negative behavior caused by that bad issue from years ago today. And then your nightmare will happen tonight to wake you up to it and say, look, this really needs to be taken care of, or we need to figure out how to process this, in a healthy manner.
Oh my God. I got to say, this is incredibly therapeutic. It's just endlessly fascinating to hear about this, and that dreams aren't things that just happen to you. Like, you do have the ability to confront things and make changes and track things. And so it's kind of open. Ironically, it's like opened me to like a whole nother brain about
Good.
about this. Yes, exactly. What about quarantine dreams? So you've heard about this
Yeah.
in the year of 2020. Why are so many people saying that they're kind of experiencing more dreams or extra vivid dreams during the course of the pandemic?
Yeah, that this has been a worldwide phenomenon where people all over the world are suddenly now remembering their dreams, or people that do normally remember their dreams are longer and more vivid, more intense. This has actually been really good for my career because
I was going to say that puts you in extra high demand.
Yeah, I mean, practically every media outlet in the world has come to me asking me about it, and also clients are coming to me and saying, "Help." So, this is a good thing, people. It seems concerning, but no, it's great that you're remembering your dreams more, even if they're upsetting or disturbing, because even the upsetting dreams are good for you because they're helping you. So, the reason why this is happening is because we're in lockdown and we don't have to get up at 6 in the morning, jump out of bed, get ready for work, and go. We're able to stay in bed longer because we're working from home now, or we're just not working at all. And so we're reaching that last cycle of REM we normally weren't able to reach because of the alarm clock. Now, remember, I mentioned that we dream every 90 minutes, and on a good night, we can have 5, 6, 7 dreams. That last dream before we wake up in the morning naturally, without the alarm clock, that last dream can be about 45 minutes long or longer. And that's the dream that we're now getting that we weren't before. And we're remembering it and it's freaking us out, but it's good because it is helping you deal with, the stress. It's helping you deal with everything that comes along with this pandemic.
Yeah, freaking out is one way to put it, but it's a number of effects it's having. I'm blown away though, 45 minutes, and actually you totally read my mind there, maybe both of my minds, because I was gonna ask you how long are dreams typically? So that's 45, like, how does that compare to the typical dream length?
Okay, so the first dream of the night will be about 5 or so minutes. And then the next cycle of dreaming will be longer than that. And then the one after that will be a little bit longer. And then that last one before we wake up for good is about 45 minutes, sometimes an hour long.
I'm honestly super excited to get to sleep and dream tonight, which maybe might
Good.
freak me out of even dreaming. Like, I don't know how that works with excitement, but this is mind blowing. It's also mind blowing when you have an awesome podcast for your business, but you don't even have to do any of the editing. Email me at max@maxpodcasting.com. Now, let's get into some real life dream interpretations. Ooh. I'd love to do a few listener dream interpretations if you're up for it.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you for being on the spot. As prep for this interview, I've reached out to listeners, people on social media for recent dreams or just crazy dreams they've had. So there's a few I'll read off here. So thank you to those who submitted, and we're going to go through a few today. Okay, this one is from Elise Gelwicks, who says, I always have nightmares about being late for class or not being able to find the right classroom. It is so stressful. So, Lori, what's your impression from that?
All right. This is a really common dream, the back at school dream. And we will find ourselves back in those cinder blocked halls 10, 20, 30, 40 years after we graduated. We still dream we're back at school. What I have, and now without, again, I'm going to say this as an archetype, what is typical, without having her to ask questions and get to her personal meaning. This is generally what the back at school dream is connected to. It is usually caused by our job or our career because school is our first job and it holds the same dynamics as a job or career. You have to be on time. You need to be prepared, have done your homework. You want to be liked by others. You are being tested and judged, and you eventually want to move on up to the next level. So, in your back at school dreams, pay very close attention to the stress or the struggle that you're having. Now, she said she's late for class.
Yes, late for class or not being able to find the right classroom, which I swear
Okay.
I've had similar ones to this as well. Well after graduating school.
Yeah. Okay. So you can't find your class. There's a lot of variations to the back at school dream. The not being able to find your class or being late for class is one of the more common ones. Now, your class, as far as school goes, is where you are meant to be. As far as career goes, when you can't find your class or you're late for it, it means you may not feel you are where you are meant to be in your career or you are not doing what you are meant to be doing. You're unhappy with where you are, or you have not yet found that job that just feels right to you. And then when you have the time pressure on top of it, that's a good indication you're feeling that pressure in real life. When am I going to get where I need to be in my career? Am I going to find something that I enjoy doing?
Hmm. Interesting. I wonder if that ties back to being a more ambitious person. If you're kind of never satisfied, I wonder if that
Certainly
relates back
could.
to.
Yeah, so these are questions that you should ask yourself, dreamer, and then if you're just not, if what fits for you with this dream interpretation is that you just aren't happy with where you are in your career, then start focusing on how you can remedy that. Do you need to find a different career? Do you need to work harder to get where you want to be? Do you need to change things up? The same old is not going to get you anywhere.
Absolutely. So thank you, Elise, for submitting. Next up is we have one from Emma Gottdiener. This is my girlfriend Dana's cousin. So shout out Emmy. She said, might be too scary for this. So we'll see how scary it is.
Okay.
She said, this isn't recent, but used to be my recurring nightmare. Shopping at CVS, and robbers come to steal the money, and one takes me hostage by the neck and is negotiating with police with the gun pointing to the top of my head always, like the very crown of my head. Isn't it normally the side of your head in the movies? Anyway, then the robber gets mad at the police and he goes to shoot me, and that's when I wake up every single time.
Okay. So she doesn't actually die. She just wakes up
She
upon
wakes
the.
up, which I think is a much better alternative, but yeah, she wakes up at that same time.
Okay. So since she doesn't get it anymore, it was connected to something that's been resolved or is now over. So the robbers are interesting. This and also where the gun is pointed is interesting. Every little detail in a dream you need to pay attention to. Nothing's random. There's a reason the gun is pointed there at the top of her head as opposed to the back or her heart. Okay, so she's in CVS, robbers come in, they hold her hostage. That right there is a big clue. So at the time she was getting these dreams, she must have been feeling stuck or held back somewhere in her life. Could have been a career, could have been a relationship, personal goals, who knows? But she was feeling stuck. The police that show up are her ability to put a stop to this situation. And the dream kept happening. So she was stuck. Recurring dreams happen because we're stuck somehow in real life. So she was stuck. And there's negotiations going on, which is also very interesting. I would love to know what was being said in those negotiations because whatever is said in a dream is crucial you pay attention to it because it's something you're telling yourself. That negotiation between the police and the robbers was really a conversation or a negotiation she was having with herself, likely on how do I get out of this situation that I keep finding myself stuck in. And the robbers could also indicate she's feeling robbed of something, robbed of an opportunity, robbed of something she felt she deserved but didn't get, something like that. And then the gun is at her head. The head to the dreaming mind usually represents your intellect or your ego or that part of you that knows better. And she may have also been feeling pressure, feeling under the gun, so to speak. If you can find a figure of speech in your dream, you found a good part of the message. So she may have been feeling under the gun about something. And maybe she wasn't feeling like she was smart enough to figure it out or wise enough, or maybe someone was insulting her intelligence, something like that. But then she gets shot.
Well, maybe it's kind of Sopranos esque. We don't really know.
Right. So I'm thinking that would be her subconscious saying, just give this your best shot. Just go for it. Because otherwise, you're going to keep getting stuck in the same situation.
Mm, I like that. Well, Emmy, thank you for the submission, and sorry about your CVS experience of past. And then we have my dad actually sent me a bunch of them, so we're not going to go through all of them, but there's some really interesting themes here that he's seen over time that I want to get your thoughts on. one of them, and my Aunt Mindy has mentioned this as well. One of them is he said, I have lots of dreams where people I know throughout my life are all scattered as kind of a cast of a dream. So some might be high school baseball teammates, kids he went to high school with or college. Others are kids that he coached when he coached youth sports. Sometimes his parents will be in the dreams. But what does it mean when it's, the same dream, but it's a mix of random people like that?
Right. Okay. So nothing in a dream is ever random, ever. It'll seem random because you don't understand it, but there's never, ever anything random. Our dreams will carefully piece together every single part to be a part of the message that you need right now. So when we dream of people from our past that we haven't seen like since third grade, for example, all the different people in your dreams, unless you deal with them daily, like your spouse or a best friend or child, the people in our dreams tend to represent the different parts of our personality. So someone from your past, ask yourself what stands out the most about that person, about their personality. What do you remember the most about them? How would you describe them in 1 to 3 words? Then apply that description to yourself. Does that fit you right now? Does that make sense to you right now? Are you being that way right now? So I often, as an example, use this kid that used to show up in my dreams all the time. His name was Jeff, and he was in my third grade class. And what stood out to me about him was that he was the shyest person I've ever known in my life. He would never raise his hand. He always had his head down on his desk. I don't think I ever heard a word out of him. No idea what his voice sounded like. So whenever he shows up in a dream, that's my subconscious using him to show me you're being way too quiet right now. There's something you need to speak up about.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's so funny how that stuff feels random, but as you're saying,
It's
it's not
not.
it's
It
not
is
random.
never random, ever. Even down to the color of the shirt you're wearing. There is a connection to your waking life and a message for you.
Another one he has is he says, another recurring theme is that I'm somewhere with lots of people and trying to navigate my way through or around the crowd. I walk up on some type of ramp, staircase, or ladder that ends high in the air, and I'm trapped unless I do a risky jump across to another area.
Okay, so he climbs up a ladder and then he has to do some kind of risky jump to get to the
Right.
next area. Okay.
Yes.
This, I'm wondering if it would have to do with his career or some other area of his life where he was continuing to rise up to the next level, because going up in a dream, like going up a ladder, a staircase, up an elevator, usually represents progress in some form or fashion in waking life. But then, in order to get to the next thing, he has to take a risky jump. So that's all about his subconscious probably telling him, okay, we've made it this far. Now we got to take a risk. And as you know, in order to be successful in a career or even in any area, you do have to take a leap of faith.
Oh my God, that completely can tie back to our family business, which he started the year I was born. So that's just crazy to think about. Um, one more point here. I had a dream. I've heard many talk about dream. I mean, you even mentioned at the start of the episode dreaming about your grandfather who passed away, and many times they're dead relatives that show up in dreams. I've had one for background. My cousin Elena passed away from leukemia about 15 years ago, and she was a year older than me, so we're similar in age and close. And it feels like so long ago now, but we all obviously love her and so close to her. And this was something that happened. I think it was earlier this year in 2020. I had a dream that it was kind of like how it was when we'd visit her in the hospital when she was undergoing treatment, and she'd stay positive, keep her spirits high and everything. But in this dream, it was kind of a setting like that. You could clearly see that she was going through like tons of trauma, and in my mind, like dreaming it, I was kind of like, is this her undergoing the chemo or treatment or what? And then she went through all this and started kind of shaking. You could tell she was going through something really intense. And then it was like all of a sudden it was just super peaceful. And she was back to complete health. She still didn't have her hair, but she had leaned up and waved at us and was like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" And kind of like, "I'm good now." And I was like, "Whoa, wow." I just had never experienced something like that.
Yeah. I don't think that needs an interpretation. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
I think those that have passed on can communicate while we're in the dream state.
Hmm. That's incredible. We'll
Yeah.
need to we'll see if it happens again, but that's yeah, shout out Elena.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up with some rapid fire Q&A. You ready for it?
Okay.
All right, let's get wild. Not that we haven't been wild already. In addition to your dream business, you are a super cool pinup artist. What is your favorite part of doing these awesome pinup drawings?
The favorite part of the body I draw or my favorite part of because I'm really good at boobs.
I meant doing it, but there you go. Yep, that's the answer I was looking for. What's your favorite part of doing it? Is maybe that's the answer.
I enjoy capturing the beauty of my clients. The actual act of drawing it is fun for me. I love drawing faces, bodies. I can draw a woman with my eyes closed. But
What part?
the
No,
best
I'm kidding.
part the best part is when she sees it, the complete product, and she's overwhelmed by how gorgeous she can now see herself. Because when I'm done, I'll show it to them. They'll go, "Oh my god, I'm so hot." I'm like, "Yeah, you are. I hope you always see yourself this way now."
Oh my god, it's like the next like evolution of that the famous Dove painting, the Dove Natural Beauty commercials where they
Yeah.
show, sketch artists. And then last one, this is extremely important. No, I'm just kidding. But do you have a set time that you wake up every day?
I don't wake up to an alarm clock. I work from my home, so I don't have to get up and, be somewhere, but I tend to wake up naturally somewhere between 7 and 7:30.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so that explains a lot. I think that ties back to the vivid dreaming. You're in a good setup for that. Well, Lori, this has been endlessly fascinating. Again, I'm just going to use that term again and again, but my mind is blown and really appreciate all your time and help. And this stuff is just so interesting. Where is the best place for people to connect with you and learn more about your business?
Well, if you want to talk with me on the phone about your dreams, it'll blow your mind. It is great experience and you'll walk away with so much insight and advice for yourself. And you can find me at lauriloewenberg.com. Now, Lauri Loewenberg is kind of hard to spell, so if you just Google Dream Expert, I'm like the first one that pops up. And then you can also check out my pinup art at you as a pinup.com.
Perfect. And last thing here, final thoughts. Any parting words? Any final words of wisdom you want to share with us? Send us
Yeah.
off.
Never ever dismiss your dream as just a dream because it wasn't just a dream. It was the answer you needed at that very moment in time for your life. Thank you and sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams indeed. Thank you so much, Lori. That was one giant dream itself, it felt like. And thank you, wild listeners, for tuning in to another episode. If you want to hear more wild stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to the Wild Business Growth Podcast on your favorite app and tell a friend about the podcast. You can also find us on Good Pods. And for any help with podcast production, you can learn more at MaxPodcasting.com. Until next time, let your business run wild.
Bring on the bongos!